What is up, Space Noids, Earth Noids, and everything in between? I am just a simple new type, and in this video, the 70s are behind us. We are cruising through the 80s of the Universal Century timeline. Last episode, we talked about Operation Rubicon and Operation Christmas, which took place at the end of UC 0079. Before diving into UC 0083, let's catch up on what has happened since the incident on Side 6. January 1st, UC 0080. The one-year war officially ends. The Principality of Zeon once again becomes a republic and signs the Granada Treaty. See our final Mobile Suit Gundam 0079 video on the breakdown of the treaty. One good thing to come out of the actions of Operation Christmas was that Side 6 and the Earth Federation signed a security treaty on January 14th, UC 0080. Around this time, the Delaz fleet decided to remain in Earth territory. It isn't until March of UC 0080 that the Delaz fleet uses the debris of the former Side 5 to rebuild something new in the name of Zeon. This was called the Garden of Thorns. June of UC 0080. It took 6 months to completely disarm the African front on Earth, and things still are unstable. I imagine this was chaos until the Fedis were able to maintain some semblance of order. March of UC 0081. Zena Menevazabi, heir to the Zabi family, arrived at the asteroid base Axis, which is one of the few known remaining holdouts for Zeon. Unfortunately, 2 months later, in May of UC 0081, Zena dies of an illness. On October 5th of UC 0081, EFF approved the Federation Forces reconstruction plans as EFF prepares for its next major conflict and remain wartime ready. On October 20th, Anaheim Electronics secretly begins the Gundam development project, supervised by Vice Admiral Cohen. Vice Admiral Cohen is the successor to the late General Revel. April of UC 0082. EFF secretly establishes their own new type labs. Finally. A month later, the first colony reclamation plan begins, relocating damaged colonies from Side 4 to Side 3. And that brings us to the late UC 0083. During the past year or so, we have seen a divide amongst Earth Federation forces between the reformist faction led by Admiral Cohen and the conservative faction led by Admiral Gene Colony. So let's dive into Mobile Suit Gundam 0083, Stardust Memory. We flash back to the Battle of Abawaku, UC 0079. Captain Delaz is told that Giran is dead and Kycelia is in command. Remember, in our Abawaku video, we talked about a fleet that flees because they are Giran loyalists. Well, this is that fleet. Ace Zeon pilot Naval is returning from the battlefield. He is met by Captain Delaz, who tells him of the death of Giran Zabi and Kycelia, even though Kycelia is still alive. He tells Gato that they can live to fight another day. The Delaz fleet leaves Abawaku. October 13th, UC 0083. We see Grunt Zaku's fighting a Grunt GM. One of the pilots is our protagonist, Ko Uraki. They are carrying out a live simulation with Lieutenant Burning watching over them. That's right, Lieutenant Burning. What's his first name? South. His first name is South Burning. Okay. Flying in Earth's atmosphere is the Pegasus-class ship, the Albion. The MSC-07 Albion is a Minovsky craft cruiser similar to White Base. Unlike White Base, the Albion has no shell weapons and is all beam weapons. As White Base was the foundation of Operation V, the Albion is somewhat considered the foundation of the new Gundam development project led by Cohen and Anaheim Electronics. There was a minor scene in 0080 War in the Pocket where we see Grey Phantom, so this would be the third appearance of a Pegasus class ship in these videos. This is Nina Purpleton's first time on Earth. Nina is a talented Anaheim Electronics engineer. She asks the captain when they will be at Australia. The captain lets her know that they are currently flying over Australia. The colony drop from Operation British created a 500-kilometer crater, the biggest Universal Century has ever seen, which is now known as Sydney Bay. She looks out in wonder. Meanwhile, Naval is ready to begin Operation Stardust. Operation Stardust will occur throughout this OVA, and we will soon discuss it in detail. For now, Gato's first objective is to steal one of the GT prototype Gundams located at Torrington Base, an EFF base north of Sydney Bay. Ensign Ko Uraki and Ensign Chuck Keith sneak on board the Albion. They meet up with Miss Purpleton and Chief Mora Basht. Ko marvels at the new Gundam. Gato is changing into a Fetty uniform and preparing to infiltrate the base. Back at the Chow Hall on Torrington, we learn that Miss Purpleton runs into Ko. Ko's sharp and can tell that one of the units is designed to carry nukes, while the other is an anti-nuke mobile suit. And this is where I will actually Ko and say wrong! They're both anti-nuke mobile suits. Gato sneaks onto base and with little hesitation takes the Gundam Physalis. So far, in this journey of looking at all of time and space that is Gundam, we have seen a lot of failed mobile suit hijackings. This is not one of them. The RX-78GP-02A Gundam Physalis is what happens when the Fetties say, "What if Gundam, but swole?" It is equipped and currently armed with an atomic bazooka using the Mk-82 nuclear warhead. The bulky armor and shield help protect the unit from the heat from nuclear blasts, as its bazooka is somewhat short-ranged. So, launch that sucker and pray for the best, I guess. Despite its chunky size, it is highly maneuverable and agile. It also has a 60mm Vulcan gun, a beam saber, and a 135mm anti-ship missile. Purpleton notices and yells at Gato, but he gets into the mobile suit. Ko and Keith get back from somewhere, the bars I imagine, when they see the theft of the unit take place. Ko quickly runs to the other unit, the Zephyranthes. The RX-78GP-01 Gundam Zephyranthes is an experimental general-purpose mobile suit. Its movement is closer to that of a human being and has more sensors than the RX-78. Unlike the GP-02, the GP-01 uses a core block system and the new FF-12 Core Fighter II. We will talk about this along with the Core Fighter II FB in a later episode. It is armed with a 60mm Vulcan gun, a beam rifle, a series of different beam sabers, 90mm machine gun, and a hyper bazooka. Both the GP-01 and the GP-02 is made by Anaheim Electronics. After the 1-year war, all of the Principality of Zeon's corporations were acquired by Anaheim Electronics. This includes Zemad, Zeonic, and MIP. Because of this, many of Zeon's engineers are now working for Anaheim Electronics. The GP-02's original concept was to create an even chunkier Dom design. This is because of the Zeon engineers' love for the Dom. Gato's companion, Gailey, comes in with a Dom Choppin and destroys the Fetties captured Zaku. The MS-09F Dom Tropen is a product of the data collected from the Dom and the Dom Tropical Test Type, though it does function and move more like a Rick Dom 2. It was created late during the 1 Year War to help in the African front. The hover engines are designed specifically to handle all the sand in the desert. I imagine that there was a lot of stalled Doms stuck in the sand before figuring this out. Keith goes to warn the others. The GPO-1 meets with the GPO-2 and pulls out its beam saber. Gato makes the first move. Ko may be over his head in this battle. Gato reaffirms this by calling him an amateur. Another Zeon pilot, Bob, comes in and essentially tears through the Torrington Base, killing the base commander. Ko is starting to panic, but Lieutenant Burning calms him down while in his GM Type C, as he is a veteran. The RGM-79C GM Type C, also known as the GM Kai, it was a streamlined version of the GM units that prioritizes productivity and efficiency. What are the core GM features that are used, and how can one slim down the unit to help bring down manufacturing costs? The GM Kai is this product. The GM Type C also has a block system. However, it is nowhere near as elaborate as the core block system. It can't be changed on the fly and requires maintenance, so its block system remained a default cockpit for the most part. Another ace pilot, Dick Allen, is joining the team in the powered GM. The RGM-79 powered GM is a GM Type C with the GPO-1's backpack unit as well as added shock absorbers. And finally, Keith is also tagging along in his Zaku F2 type. The Zaku F2 type was a Zaku variant made after the Zeon's United Maintenance Plan, which was way late in the war. They didn't appear until the Battle of Solomon. With only a few weeks left in the war, there was a big surplus of this unit, which is why it was used more by the Delaz and Zeon remnants, more so than Zeon proper. They head out and chase the GPO-2. They pick up the Compe coming into the atmosphere and chase the signal. However, Gato has a Jukan-class sub waiting as a backup. The Fedis find the Compe and approach, but suddenly the Dom Tropen comes in and interrupts the team. The Compe takes off. Ko and the GPO-1 gets in front of the Compe. It begins shooting at the Gundam, so Ko proceeds to take out the shuttle. The Compe is destroyed, but out of the rubble comes the GPO-2. Gato preaches the ideas of freedom from Earth. Bro, that's so 0079. But Keith brings up an important point in that Gato was taught in their history books in school. The war to them is something of the past. Unlike Alfred from Side 6, who was a child and desired war before he experienced it, I imagine teen kids wouldn't care less about the war unless it directly impacted them. We are already about 4 years removed from the 1 Year War. Gato heads toward the Jukan sub while the rest of the team slow down the Fedis. Keith informs Ko that Dick Allen died from an attack while Ko was taking out the shuttle. They head out into the fog, chasing Zeon down. Lieutenant Burning tells the rookies that they have the upper hand, and all they have to do is let them show themselves and to not be too rash. The Dom Tropen suddenly attacks Keith in the Zaku. Keith loses his head, but is able to get the upper hand against the Dom Tropen. Ko spots Gato and begins to attack him with the beam saber. Lieutenant Burning fights the Zamel. The YMS-16M Zamel is a heavy, long-range mobile suit with a 2-seat cockpit and an amazing 680mm cannon. It was made at California Base, and only 3 are known to be in existence. Purpleton gets on the radio and tells Ko to aim for the exhaust on the shield of the GPO-2. He attacks. Smoke comes billowing out of the shield. Gato is able to make his escape on the Jukon. Keith goes to find Lieutenant Burning, who is currently dying, but it looks like he took out the Naval. Ko gets out of the Gundam and is frustrated that Gato got away. Ko returns to base to see a massacre. Captain Sinopus of the Albion tells Ko to get some rest. On the bridge of the Albion, Captain Sinopus video chats with Admiral Cohen over at Jaburo. They are concerned that the stolen nuke will be used on Jaburo and orders Sinopus and the Albion to prevent a nuke from going off at all costs. New pilots Alpha, Chap, and Bernard Moshe arrive at Torrington Base. They are all members of the Immortal Fourth during the 1 Year War, with Lieutenant Burning being their commanding officer. They visit Burning in the med bay. He's still alive. Nina shows Ko data of the battle, telling him not to doubt his skills. Bernard Moshe doesn't think Ko has what it takes to be the pilot of the GPO-1. He challenges Ko to a duel. The winner gets to be the new Gundam pilot. Ko agrees. Ko and Bernard use paint rounds instead of live ammo. The first to get a hit on the enemy wins. I believe Bernard is using a GM Type C, but not completely sure. Ko is in the GPO-1. Keith goes and informs Lieutenant Burning of the duel. Bernard is quite fast, but Ko is able to keep up. Ko chases Bernard into the wastelands of Australia. Bernard traps Ko, but he uses the dirt to blind Bernard. Ko pushes the GM down and gets the upper hand and wins. Lieutenant Burning suddenly tells the two to stop fighting. They head back to base. Burning throws them in the brig for such a silly duel. On the bridge, Captain Sinopus asks Lieutenant Burning to be the company commander for the Albion and handle all things Mobile Suit on board. The Albion is finally ready to take off and head out to search for the GPO-2. The Albion has been flying through East Africa for about a week now. The crew and its pilots aren't getting along. They are still a new crew. The Albion gets a message from Jaburo suggesting that if they can't retrieve the GPO-2, then perhaps they should destroy it. Miss Purpleton doesn't like this decision. The crew bickers about how Jaburo is just afraid of the GPO-2 firing the nuke on them. Captain Sinopus brings order to the crew. While arguing on the bridge, Ko returns from scouting Kilimanjaro and the Core Fighter II. The FF-12 Core Fighter II has improved aerodynamics over the original Core Fighter. The Core Fighter uses the GPO-1's beam sabers as a ranged beam weapon. Also, the thrusters on the Core Fighter are used when attached to the GPO-1 instead of being dead weight when attached. Bernard Moshe sabotages Ko's landing and does everything to get on Nina's bad side. During the 1 Year War, a commander by the name of Nguyen Bitter retreated into an abandoned diamond mine in East Africa. They remained there for the past 3 years in hiding. Naval Gato shows up to the mine and receives warm welcomes in his GPO-2. Bitter tells Gato that he only has 10 working mobile suits currently. He will do everything he can to get Gato to the rendezvous point and tells Gato that he has one remaining HLV that he could use. He says he will do anything to bring forth the glory of Zeon once again. Now, what is an HLV? HLV stands for Heavy Lift Vehicle or Vessel. During the landing operations of the 1 Year War, the Principality of Zeon used HLVs to transport things between low Earth orbit and the Earth. Check out our hidden 1 Year War video that shows HLVs in action post-Odessa. Keith runs into Blau Engel, who happens to be the spy on board the Albion. He helped sneak Gato on board the Albion, but he left a paper on the ground when bumping into both Lieutenant Burning and Keith. Burning finds the paper and realizes he is a spy. Since he is found out, the spy runs and steals the Core Fighter II. They expect that the Core Fighter will lead them in the direction of the GPO-2. Monsha, Keith, and Ko launch. The Core Fighter runs into Zaku's, but it just shoots down the Core Fighter. Well done. Commander Bitter's plan is to have the base surrender once Gato leaves Earth atmosphere in the HLV. He gets in his mobile suit. The Albion team follows the Zaku's, only to find themselves ambushed. The Albion decides to send out Bait and Adele. The Albion, Adele, and Bait run into the remaining Zeon remnants' mobile suits. They engage in battle. Ko goes in with the GPO-1 and takes out the two Zaku's, giving the team a chance to escape. While fighting the Zeon mobile suits, they find the mine. Suddenly, they are flanked from the side. It is Ko, Keith, and Bernard Monsha coming in with the flank. Suddenly, the HLV takes off. They are too late. It is at this moment that Commander Bitter goes in and tries to destroy the Albion. However, Ko is able to take him down before destroying the ship. On the Albion, everyone is bummed that they failed the mission of capturing the GPO-2. The remaining Zeon remnants at the mining base surrenders. Up in orbit, Naval Gato is meeting up with two Salamis-class ships that are currently fighting with the Fetties. The Albion makes its way into orbit and waits for Fetty ships to arrive. They are disappointed when they only find two ships. It seems they can only rely on Admiral Cohen at the moment. The Chima fleet comes in and forces the Salamis off course a little bit. The Chima fleet is the remainder of the Mobile Assault Unit that was originally under command of Rear Admiral Kaisilia Zabi. The fleet consists of a Zanzibar II, 5 Musai-class ships, and a few Papua-class ships. At the Garden of Thorns, Naval Gato finally meets up with Commander Delaz. When meeting with Delaz, Chima enters the room. Chima leaves quickly to handle an oncoming Fetty fleet. Gato is concerned that Delaz puts too much trust into Chima. Meanwhile, Nina takes a real right turn after talking to Mora and is mean to Ko. Both Ko and Nina were working together on an algorithm for the Gundam, so this turn is just for the plot's sake, it seems. Suddenly, the alarms go off. Chima's Zanzibar II launches mobile suits to attack the Albion. Keith and Monsha launch. Suddenly, a message is broadcasted to the Albion and most of the world and sides. It is Delaz. Delaz and Gato stand in front of the GPO-2 as they declare war on the Earth Federation once again. Essentially, in his speech, Delaz states that the Republic of Zeon faction that signed the Granada Treaty were cowards that don't represent the true Principality of Zeon. Delaz also shows off the GPO-2 to show that the Earth Federation has broken the Antarctic Treaty. Post 1 Year War, the Antarctic Treaty is defunct, but because Delaz doesn't recognize the end of the 1 Year War, he says that the treaty has been broken. He is essentially saying that because the Fetties built the GPO-2, a mobile suit with nuclear weapons, then he must also resort to nukes. Weird logic on Delaz's side. Even though Delaz is declaring war on Earth, this message seems to be broadcast to other Zeon remnants out there. He wants any remaining soldiers of Zeon to join Operation Stardust. Keith and Ko engage with some Gelgoog Marines. The MS-14F Gelgoog Marine was developed from the Gelgoog High Mobility type. It has an external propellant tank which extends its operating range greatly. Its arm-mounted propulsion was removed as it was useless in space. Ko goes to launch, but decides to go in the GPO-1 and uses the algorithm. Nina tries to give him a different algorithm, but he ignores her. Monsha fights with Chima, who is piloting the Gelgoog Marine Commander type. The MS-14FS Gelgoog Marine Commander type has a 40mm Vulcan gun and an antenna to show its commander role. It also uses the MRB-110 beam rifle, which was originally used on the MS-14G Gelgoog Jaeger. Ko launches in the GPO-1. He takes out one of the Gelgoogs, but his balancer is off, and Ko starts getting wrecked. Luckily, burning breaks out of his cast and surprisingly comes to destroy a Gelgoog, helping Ko. Chima and the fleet retreats. Ko attempts to land the GPO-1 on the Albion, but he is bleeding out. His landing destroys one of the legs of the Gundam. Nina is upset that she allowed Ko to pilot the Gundam with that algorithm. The Albion begins heading towards Von Braun on the moon. Once they land, Nina runs into her colleagues at Anaheim Electronics. They need to get the GPO-1 running and space ready in 2 days. Meanwhile, the boys get drunk while on shore leave. Ko runs out after confronting Monsha. Ko is very upset with the destruction of the GPO-1. After getting beat up, he passes out and wakes up in a junkyard. It is here that we meet the man who saved him, Kelly Leisner. Kelly is a one-armed man who fought for Zeon during the 1-year war. He now lives in Von Braun as a junker. Kelly thinks that Ko is a deserter. Ko spots inside Kelly's hangar a Val Wallo. The Val Wallo is a mobile armor based off the Begro, which we saw White Base and Papa Gundam go up against. Only 3 were built late during the war, and only saw combat at Abawaku. We are most likely looking at the only surviving Val Wallo. Ko and Kelly fix up the mobile armor. Meanwhile, some of the crew go looking for Ko. Kelly's girlfriend gets mad at Ko for getting Kelly excited about the mobile suits, as he used to be a pilot. Later, Ko sees Kelly talking to a mysterious woman. This woman happens to be Chima, who snuck onto Von Braun earlier. Kelly shows Chima the mobile armor. It seems that Kelly is fixing up the Val Wallo to help with the Delaz fleet. Ko confronts Kelly and they begin to fight. Ko leaves the junkyard. While walking away, he runs into Nina. They have a conversation. Ko decides to return to the ship, but he goes back to Kelly first. He tells Kelly that he understands he will always be a mobile suit pilot, and so will Kelly. Being a technician isn't enough for either of them. They finish fixing the Val Wallo. Ko leaves, knowing that the next time that he sees Kelly, it will be as enemies. Back at the Von Braun labs, Ko tests out the new upgrades for the Gundam, referred to now as the Gundam Zephyranthes Full Burnin'. The RX-78 GPO-1 FB Gundam Zephyranthes Full Burnin' was simply supposed to be an upgrade, but because it was badly damaged, it received an overhaul in design. Its legs were installed with large propellant tanks, which would go on to inspire the design of the Zeta Gundam. It also has an upgraded Core Fighter II, which we will talk about next time. Many of the upgrades to its space combat technically aren't upgrades, but components that should have been installed onto the GPO-1 from the start. But since Gato stole the GPO-2, it changed the plans of the GPO-1. The Albion crew marvels at Ko as he tests the new unit. After testing the new GPO-1 Full Burnin', Ko is not recognizing Nina Purpleton's passes at him. Keith gives him the push he needs to ask her out by giving him movie tickets. Back at the junkyard, Kelly's girlfriend is arguing with him for building the Val Wallo. We discussed last time that based on the fact that only a handful of these were made during the 1-year war, it is most likely that this is one of the last ones in existence. Chima is still on the moon and is trying to influence Anaheim Electronics to do some of her bidding. Nina is hard at work on the Gundam, during which she is told that she is being transferred off the Mobile Suit program and off the Albion. Certainly, this is the meddling of Chima. Nina is sad about leaving Ko, more so than her work it seems. A man comes in to give Kelly his payment of gold after completing the Val Wallo. Kelly is excited to prove himself once again. The man, however, laughs and says that a one-armed man would never be chosen for this mission and tells Kelly that he will be piloting the Val Wallo. So naturally, Kelly decides to get drunk. Back at Anaheim Electronics, Ko comes to visit Nina. He fails at making a move, and this upsets Nina. She runs away. Kelly gets in the mobile armor, thinking that if he is able to defeat the Gundam pilot, then maybe it will prove his worth for Chima. He takes off, leaving his girlfriend behind. Ko finds out that Nina won't be returning on the ship when the alarms go off. Ko preps the Gundam Full Burnin'. Ko reaches out to Kelly, knowing it is him, but Kelly is just now finding out that Ko is the Gundam pilot. They engage in battle on the surface of the moon. Meanwhile, Nina finds out about the situation and goes out on a tiny moon lander. The Valwallo's giant beam cannon melts the Gundam's shield. The Valwallo uses its plasma leader on the Gundam. This projectile weapon is fired in groups of 3. When deployed, the plasma leaders lodge into the ground in a triangle formation around an enemy mobile suit, whereupon they project an energy field that immobilizes the enemy. The Gundam can't move. Keith launches to help Ko when he realizes Nina is out on the battlefield. Kelly's lander gets a hit. This enrages Ko. The Valwallo's pincer captures the Gundam. Ko ejects the core block and the top half of the Gundam to escape the clutches of the Valwallo. Ko is able to get under the mobile armor and attack using its beam saber. The Valwallo is going down. Kelly tells Ko that he regrets nothing. Ko tells him to eject. Kelly laughs and tells him that they never installed one. Kelly and the Valwallo is destroyed. Ko grabs Nina. He gets out of the Gundam and finally tells Nina his feelings for her. The Albion, with Nina on board, depart from Von Braun City and prepare for Operation Stardust. Earth Federation forces are organizing a naval review to show off one of their new ships. This is the first naval review since the 1-year war. However, Captain Sinopus notes that the Albion wasn't notified of joining the review. This is due to Admiral Wyatt. More on him soon. The naval review is being held on Compe Island. What is Compe Island? It is the asteroid formerly known as Solomon. After the Battle of Solomon, during the 1-year war, the Federation took control and renamed it. Meanwhile, Ko, Keith, and Burning do some training. While training, they run into a series of colonies that are being transferred from Side 1 to Side 3 as part of the colony restoration program. Ko is now a lieutenant junior grade and now the same rank as Burning. Burning is feeling old. Burning and Captain Sinopus have a drink. Sinopus is also such an alcoholic that the doctor has to hold on to his alcohol. Burning is in a mood and decides to invoke the mighty slap of Bright. While this happens, the alarms go off. Admiral Wyatt is planning on meeting with the Chima fleet. Wyatt is a more radical fleet admiral between Cohen and himself. Because he believes the Albion's loyalty lies in Cohen, he has a great disdain for them. The Albion fleet engages with the Chima fleet. Chima and Ko fight. Burning finds a downed Zeon with a briefcase handcuffed to him. Burning takes the briefcase and immediately engages with Chima. Chima backs off when Ko and Keith arrive, but Chima got a good hit on Burning. The 3 banter about their love life. Burning looks inside the briefcase to see all the plans about Operation Stardust. Suddenly, due to Chima's attack, Burning's GM explodes from the inside, killing Burning in the process. Back at the Albion, the crew mourns the loss of Burning. It is November 10th of UC 0083, and it is the day of the Naval Review. On Axis, Zeon remnants are wondering if they should send the advanced fleet to support the Laz. In the background, a young girl wonders how many more years must she wait. This young girl is Haman Karn, who will become the main antagonist of our next UC adventure. During the Great Exodus to Axis after the 1-year war, Haman took over her father's role as leader of the Exodus. In the future, she will play a big role in helping Minavazabi, but for now, she waits on Axis to make her move. Some Zeon remnants meet up with the Dalaz fleet. As they return to the Earth sphere, many of the Zeon remnant soldiers marvel at seeing Earth for the first time in 3 years. They are all to meet up at the Shoal Zone. The Shoal Zone is simply where Side 5 used to be after the 1-year war. This is where the remnants of the Battle of Loon exist. This also happens to be where the Garden of Thorns exists as well. Back on the Albion, Ko returns to his third sortie of the day. He is a little on edge, but not as much as Moncha, who is taking out his grief towards the loss of Lieutenant Burning on a prisoner of war. As the Feddies begin the naval review, Naval Gato and the Delaz fleet launch. Moncha and Co launch. Admiral Wyatt gives a speech to the fleet at Compe Island in the brand new Birmingham-class ship. The new Birmingham ship seems to be another instance of EFF pride and bureaucratic nonsense. It is bigger than the Magellan-class ship, but for some reason, EFF didn't build them with mobile suits in mind, so there is no hangar. This is a major oversight to have something this short-sighted built post-1-year war. Luckily, this will be EFF's last vessel centered around the big gun concept, and it certainly does have some big guns. It has a bunch of megaparticle cannons everywhere. It also has twin laser cannons and a missile launcher. On Ko's fourth sortie, he engages with the Drac. The MS-21C Drac is a high-speed assault mobile suit made by the Delaz fleet and used by Zeon remnants. Because resources were minimal for the Zeon remnants, many of the parts of the Drac came from Zaku 2F2 and the bomber ship the Gattle. It is extremely fast, but it has very poor mobility due to its inferior auto-balancer system. Many of these units make its way to Axis to live on and be used for other factions in the future. Ko is able to take out the unit easily. The Albion crew head towards the Ramos sector. The Shoal Zone sounds huge, as this seems to be a huge cat-and-mouse game between EFF and Zeon, navigating between the rubble. It's also why the Garden of Thorns was probably never found out over these past 3 years as well. That is until the team run into more Zeon remnants, including Gato and the GPO-2. Ko chases Gato. Moncha and the crew handles the ongoing assault, while Ko goes to chase the GPO-2. The GPO-2 makes a beeline straight for Compe Island. Ko chases him, but he doesn't make it in time. Gato arms the Mk-82 nuclear weapon and aims it at the Birmingham. He fires the weapon. For the rebirth of the ideals of Zeon, for the success of Operation Stardust, Solomon, I have returned. Naval Gato proclaims these words as he shoots the Mk-82 nuke. An insurmountable light source is seen from space. Ko quickly heads towards the light to chase down Gato. He was too slow. The radio is jammed with nothing but chaos. The Birmingham-class ships are more or less gone. In fact, 2/3 of the Federation fleet was destroyed during this incident. Sinopus takes command and heads toward Compe Island. After firing the nuke, it seems the GPO-2's left arm is not working properly. Suddenly, Ko in the full burning comes in hot with Vulcans. They engage in battle. Ko struggles to get a lock. Gato throws his beam saber to distract Ko, and it works. The GPO-2 sneaks up behind Ko. He is barely able to react in time to defend himself. Back at Compe Island, they are informed of the loss of the troops and are told that the Albion is coming to help. These men are a part of Colony's faction, as they don't want any help from the Albion. While fighting, Ko and Gato go to a private channel to communicate. Gato is self-righteous towards Ko. Ko notices during the fight that his left arm isn't moving. He uses this to his advantage. Gato turns up his beam saber's power output and does damage to the GPO-1. Ko turns on his thrusters and burns the GPO-2. Both are severely damaged. Keith comes to assist Ko, while Doms come to help Gato. Both units are about to blow. They get out and look each other in the eyes. Gato tells Ko he will never forget him. He jetpacks towards the Doms, while Keith comes in and grabs Ko. On the Albion, Nina Purpleton is upset that both the GPO-1 and the GPO-2 are destroyed. At the Colony Restoration Program, Chima intervenes in the transfer of a colony. They destroy a Colony Public Corporation security ship and take control. Gems, a part of the Lineback 1 Corps, are looking for the lost patrol vessel. They run into Chima fleet with 2 colonies. The Chima fleet begins their attack on the 2 colonies to remove the colony's mirrors. Sinopus decides to support Admiral Cohen and head to Levian Rose. an orbital manufacturing plant ran by Anaheim Electronics. This plant happens to be home of the GP-03. There is a third unit. Xenopus is informed of the colony jack and that the mirrors were broken off the colony. Nina realizes this will allow the two colonies to collide into one another, which will deflect one towards the moon. Delaz meets up with the Chima fleet. They begin resupplying ships. The Axis Advance Fleet chooses to be neutral during Operation Stardust. This allows for the Zeon remnants to live on and to blame this operation as a rogue act of terrorism. The fact that the Axis Advance Fleet are allowed to live on by EFF is mind-blowing. However, the Advance Fleet does give Naval a parting gift of the New Zeal. The AMX-002 New Zeal prototype mobile armor is superior to most mobile armors that came out during the 1-year war. This was created by Axis Zeon and is highly maneuverable for how big it is. It has a mega particle cannon, missile launchers, a mega cannon, and claw arms. It also has an eye field generator. An eye field reflects all mega particles used in beam weapons, making them effectively useless. When Minovsky particles are released into the air or into open space, the positive and negative particles spontaneously align themselves into three-dimensional cubic lattice. Due to the repulsive and electrostatic forces between the Minovsky particles, the lattice functions as a kind of force field, which is referred to as an eye field. The Albion docks with Levy and Rose. Keith and Co. wonder what the GP-03 is like. The crew meet with Lieutenant Commander Nakaha Nakato of the 401st Security Company. He informs the Albion crew that they are reassigned to guard the Levy and Rose and the GP-03 unit while the Compe Island Pursuit Fleet track down the rogue colonies. Admiral Cohen also has been taken off the Gundam development project for losing the GP-02 and getting the fleet destroyed during the Naval Review. It seems that the Albion crew has no allies within the Earth Federation forces anymore. Xenopus, Ko, and Nina meet with the director of the GP-03 program, Lucetta. She wants Ko to be the test pilot for the GP-03, but Captain Nakoto won't allow it currently. It seems since the loss of Cohen, the development program is shut down indefinitely, and that means the GP-03 can't be tested. Lucetta, of course, doesn't agree with this. Lucetta shows Ko schematics on the GP-03. The pursuit fleet runs into Chima. However, the colony is picking up speed from the gravitational pull of the moon and the fleet loses fuel. Chima has Von Braun's lasers activate the colony's thrusters. It doesn't hit the moon, but rather swings around and makes its way towards Earth. It is the 1-year war all over again. Lucetta and Ko sneak on board the Levy and Rose to get in the GP-03, but Captain Nakoto and his men stop him. Nakoto shoots at Ko, but Lucetta blocks the bullets with her body. Suddenly, Xenopus and the Albion crew help out Ko and take control of the Levy and Rose. He arrests Captain Nakoto. Nina comes to help Lucetta. She tells her that she knew that she had an affair with Gato 3 years ago. She tells Nina to take care of the GP-03 before dying in her arms. Ko gets in the GP-03. The GP-03 is made up of 2 parts. The RX-78 GP-03S Gundam Stamen is the core suit that can be attached to the Dendrobium. It was designed to have a core block system, but this version opted out of having it because of the unique 360-degree panoramic cockpit. It has a beam saber, beam rifle, folding bazooka, hyper bazooka, and folding shield. The RX-78 GP-03 Gundam Dendrobium is one of the other parts of the mobile suit and sought to combine the versatility of a mobile suit with the heavy firepower of a mobile armor. It has a mega beam cannon, a claw arm, large beam saber, missile pods, a folding bazooka, and a shield. Like the New Zeal, the Dendrobium contains an eye field. Back at the colony, Gato is doing massive damage with the New Zeal. Gato finds an unknown mobile suit on the battlefield. It is the GP-03 and Co. November 12th, UC 0083. The GP-03 takes out bombs and Zaku's left and right. Admiral Cohen is observing from Earth. His men tells him that they have 9 hours before the colony reaches the point of no return. The Zeon remnants retreat. all but Gato, who comes out from hiding in the rubble. They engage in battle. Captain Sinopus is waiting for Ko to make a hole in the enemy's defenses before sending out the other mobile suits. Everyone is on standby. Ko is able to get past the New Zeal's eye field and get a hit. The other Albion mobile suits launch. Keith tells Ko to go and resupply. Meanwhile, at the front of the pack is Delaz. Chima comes on board Delaz's ship and kills Delaz's men. They keep Delaz alive. The enemy doesn't retreat, however, and continue their assault on the Albion. Ko decides to launch the Stamen without the Dendrobium. Commodore Hyman takes Admiral Cohen away after Cohen tries to convince him to take the colony drop seriously. We are seeing an absurd level of incompetence on EFF's side. 3 hours remain till the point of no return. Captain Sinopus offers Nina the opportunity to leave the ship. She says she will remain till the very end. The fleet engages with Zeon remnants. Ko is attached to the Dendrobium once again. He takes out a Musai. Monsha runs into a Drac. It takes out his arm. Gato destroys Ko's eye field. The GPO-3 rushes to make it to the colony, but like chasing the GPO-2, Ko is too late. The colony has reached a point of no return. It will hit Earth, but there is still a chance that they can at least prevent it from hitting Jabura. Meanwhile, EFF has deployed the Solar System 2. The Solar System 2 is a more refined version of the Solar Flare that we saw during the Battle of Solomon in Mobile Suit Gundam. The control system of the Solar System 2 is on board a modified Columbus Kai-class ship. The commander of the Solar System is Bask Ohm, a brutal member of EFF that vastly despises space noise. Gato finds out that Chima has Gato as a hostage. Chima clearly has no loyalties and is willing to give Delaz up to EFF. Delaz tells Gato to carry out the plan no matter what. Chima shoots Delaz. Enraged, Gato crushes the bridge of the Guadin. Chima quickly rushes to the hangar to grab a mobile suit before the Guadin is completely destroyed. The New Zeal approaches the solar system. Chima escapes in the Gerbera Tetra. The AGX-04 Gerbera Tetra is a product of Zeon loyalty and a failed Gundam development project. The GPO-4 Gerbera was in production, but because of the overlap with the GPO-1 and the GPO-1's ability to upgrade easily made Anaheim Electronics scrap the project. Also remember, some members of Anaheim Electronics are originally from Zeonic and still have loyalty to Zeon, so they took the GPO-4 scraps and made the Gerbera Tetra. It has a machine cannon, beam saber, beam machine guns, and a shield. The battle wages on around the solar system. Gato takes out a Salamis Kai-class ship. The colony is in range of the solar system. 30 seconds left until it reaches 100%. But Bosk demands that they fire now. It does nothing. The colony breaks through the Earth atmosphere. The solar system control ship is destroyed. The colony runs right through the solar system. Gato begins the final part of his mission. He has to set the coordinates for the final course correction within the colony. Nina steals the Core Fighter 2 full burn-in and takes off towards the colony, chasing Gato. Chima attacks Ko. Ko uses Dendrobium to impale Chima's mobile suit, killing Chima. In the colony, Nina tries to stop Gato from hitting Jaburo. Gato says he isn't hitting Jaburo and that the days he spent on the moon with her were all lies in order to perpetuate Zeon's greater plan. Nina grabs a gun and points it at Gato. The gun is fired, but it wasn't Nina. It was Ko who shot. Gato pulls the lever anyways. The colony is redirected. Nina comforts Gato. She points a gun at Ko, revealing to Ko that they were once lovers. Nina and Gato retreat, leaving Ko confused. The Compe Island pursuit fleet finally make their way onto the battlefield. Ko exits the colony and contacts the Albion. It's located behind the colony and needs to get back to the ship. Gato knocks out Nina and puts her in a dom. He goes out to finish the battle. Ko and Gato fight. The Albion retreats from the battlefield. The solar system is at 25%, but Bosk wants to fire on the enemy mobile armor. Even though their own men will get caught in the crossfire, he fires the weapon at Ko and Gato. Cohen is informed that the evacuation of Jaburo has been called off as the colony won't end up being hit at that location. It will hit North America. Ko is drifting out into space. He gets out of the Dendrobium. Nina is picked up by Axis fleet. The colony makes its descent. The remaining remnants try to make the retreat towards Axis. Gato is helping his fellow Zeon men retreat. He is badly injured. Gato uses his remaining energy to take out a Federation ship and kill himself in the process. Several weeks later, Ko is sentenced to 1 year imprisonment. December 4th, UC 0083. After Operation Stardust, Admiral Hyman created a Special Forces unit with the ability to act outside the law, stating that the safety of the Federation was of greater importance than the civil rights of the Federation citizens. The Special Forces team will come to be known as the Titans. The first members of the Titans consisted of the Albion crew. March 10th, UC 0084. All data regarding the Gundam development project under Admiral Cohen has been deleted. The GPO-1, the GPO-2, and the GPO-3 all erased. Because these files were deleted, Ko's charges were eventually dropped. Ko is back on Earth at North America Oakley Base. A Gelgoog commander type approaches the base. It is Keith. In a jeep close by are Nina and Mora. Nina smiles at Ko. That concludes Stardust Memory. But what exactly was Operation Stardust? We see most of the beats played out throughout the series, but certainly everything wasn't answered. Let's break it down step by step. Step 1. Steal the GPO-2 along with the Mk-82 nuclear weapon. We see this play out in the first 4 episodes. Step 2. The GPO-2 fires the nuclear weapon at Compe Island during the EFF Naval Review. We saw this play out in episode 9 as Gato destroyed a lot of the Birmingham-class ships and most of the EFF fleet. Step 3. Steal 2 colonies. Once Step 2 was carried out by Gato, Chima took 2 colonies from the Colony Restoration Program. Step 4. Lure EFF's remaining fleet from Compe Island towards Von Braun on the moon. This will waste EFF's fuel and won't be able to stop Zeon from finishing the next step. Step 5. Use the moon's orbit to circle the moon and head directly towards Earth. Now here are some things. There was never any evidence that the target was Jaburo. EFF just made that assumption, which shows the amount of ego and incompetence. However, it lands in North America. Now why is this? Most likely because that is where most of the world's food supply is located. All that precious corn is now decimated. Admiral Cohen was thrown to the wayside as Hyman and Bosk gained more control within EFF. So what happened to Admiral Cohen? There is nothing moving forward about his existence. Some speculate that Hyman may have had him killed, but I imagine he was discharged and erased from EFF databases. We also don't know exactly what Ko was charged for. I assume he had a record for initially getting into the GPO-1 without direct orders, so once Ko got into the GPO-3 without direct orders, that was all the evidence EFF needed. What about the heads of EFF like Colony, Bosk, and Hyman, and others who continue to instill their own will within Earth's realm? Is it all authoritarianism being pushed, or is there some incompetence at play? Based on the future of the Titans, I believe it is the latter. It should also be noted that Admiral Wyatt was in direct communication with the Chima fleet, so it is very possible for this to be foul play orchestrated by both sides. But I will leave that conspiracy theory for a separate video. That will do it for our journey through Operation Stardust and Universal Century 0083. Overall, I am lukewarm on this one. I love the GP Gundams and the rivalry between Ko and Gato, which works really well. but having Nina be a lover to Gato and only really telling the audience about it right at the end feels really rushed. Also, Nina didn't seem to suffer for her actions for helping Gato. I think it would be an interesting dynamic to see Nina stay on the Axis ship and defect to what will become Neo Zeon in the future, while still keeping her feelings for Code genuine. It plays more like the antithesis of what we saw with Aina and Shiro in the 8th MS team. But I don't write anime, and I still enjoyed the ride. And we get to see how the Titans are started, which is really cool. We see a great deal of incompetence from the Earth Federation forces. It is also sad that the incompetent people in charge go on to create the Titans, which will soon shift from incompetence to extreme authoritarianism. That will do it for this episode. Remember, if your new lover is fighting your old lover on two opposing sides of a war, maybe keep it to yourself. Peace.